This is a Dad's Guide podcast, episode number 4. My name is Anthony Kim. Today, we're going to talk about a really important topic for new fathers, for new parents in general: how to get enough sleep with a newborn baby in the house. So, I'm the author of a book called A Man's Guide to Newborn Babies: How to Thrive as a New Father When Baby Arrives. It's available on Amazon in Kindle format, as well as in paperback. And it's also available on iTunes as an ebook. So in this book, I talk a lot about sleep. Sleep is really, really important for humans in general. New parents are also humans, so thus new parents need to get good sleep. However, when you have a newborn waking up every 3 hours, wanting to be fed, changed, cuddled, what have you, this can be ruinous to the sleep hygiene for an adult human. That being said, there are certainly ways to get around this challenge of getting enough sleep with a newborn in the mix. So, when I became a new father, I think a lot of my friends and family were expecting me to be a sleep-deprived zombie. They were expecting me to run into things and fall asleep in a chair in the middle of the day. What I think surprised a lot of people was I actually was quite well rested. I had enough sleep. I was certainly functional. I could do my work. I could see my friends. I could see my family. And I could take care of my little baby Victoria, as well as my wife, who was recovering from the insane trauma of birth. And the reason why I got enough sleep, my wife got enough sleep, is because we put a priority on it and we constructed what I call a sleep rota. Now, sleep rotas are really, really critical when it comes to caring for a baby. Like sleep rota for the parents, that is. The baby's going to sleep whenever he or she wants to. So, a sleep rota, the basic principle behind it is that for a long stretch of a few hours at a time, one person can adequately take care of the baby. So essentially it's a division of labor such that one partner can handle the baby care duties while the other partner sleeps. This is a very, very simple concept, but I think that a lot of new parents don't necessarily follow it that well. I've talked to a number of new parents, particularly moms, about this idea of a sleep rota. And a lot of moms actually kind of force their partner to wake up in the middle of the night with them while the baby is being fed or what have you. And one of the moms said a kind of a funny thing. She said that she made her husband get up whenever she got up in the middle of the night due to revenge, essentially. So it's kind of like an empathy thing. So anyway, sleep rotas are really, really important and a really good idea to implement when you have a newborn baby, especially when you're a first-time father. So you want sleep. You really, really want to get enough sleep for you and for your wife so that this whole baby thing can run a lot smoother. So I'm going to read to you the chapter on sleep rotas in A Man's Guide to Newborn Babies. It is vital for new parents to get enough sleep. It is critical. Super duper critical. I hear about working dads who barely slept for the first few months of their baby's life, and I wonder how it's possible. I know a guy who had to go to emergency because he barely got enough sleep for the first 3 months of his son's life. You and your wife absolutely need to sleep well in order to take care of the baby, earn money, and perform activities of daily living. You guys need a sleep rota. There are a few considerations that you need to take into account to develop a sleep rota. Number 1, is your wife breastfeeding? Breastfeeding requires a woman to extract milk from her breasts every 3 to 5 hours, or else there is a risk of breast infection called mastitis. Your sleep rota must take into account the fact that your wife needs to take milk out of her breasts at regular intervals. Number 2. Who is going to work? Is dad, mom, or both going to work? Number 3, how much sleep do you need to function well? Be really honest with yourself on the minimum sleep that you need. Most adults can function well with 7.5 hours of sleep. Keep in mind that this is the number of hours for continuous sleep. If you get interrupted sleep, you generally need more total hours of sleep. My wife and I decided to breastfeed our baby with formula as an occasional supplement. My wife has a great job where she could take a full year off work. I took 2 weeks off and then went back to work. This is a good scenario because it allowed my wife to focus on her physical recovery while I went out and earned the family's bacon. I shifted my work hours a little earlier to avoid rush hour, as well as to get home earlier to spend some family time, which helped make our schedule work. I could survive on 6 to 6.5 hours of continuous sleep a night. My wife needs more, so we tried to optimize the number of hours of sleep that she got. Continuous sleep was impossible since my wife was breastfeeding, so we focused on maximizing her total hours of sleep instead. This is how our rota went for the first 2 months of Victoria's life. I wake up around 6 a.m. and change the baby's diaper. This way, my wife gets more precious time to sleep. If all's well, then I hit the gym before work. I leave for work around 7:45 a.m. with my wife normally still asleep. When the baby is hungry, she will wake up to breastfeed. During the day, my wife usually gets a couple of naps that total 2 to 3 hours of sleep. I get home around 5:30 p.m. and my wife and I try to eat together. If the baby needs attention, we eat in shifts. After dinner, I take over with the baby so that my wife can take a shower, do any self-care that she needs to do, and pump out any residual breast milk so that she can get sleep. My wife goes to sleep around 9 p.m. I feed the baby with bottled breast milk, change diapers, and give her some education by reading to her and working on her visual focusing. I stay up with the baby until about 12 a.m., making sure the baby is well fed, changed, and drowsy. She usually sleeps for another hour when my wife takes over. Throughout the night, I sleep a solid 6 hours, while my wife gets another 2 hours in between feedings. Our sleep rota netted me 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep. My wife got 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep in the evenings, 2 hours during the night, and an additional 4 hours of nap time interspersed throughout the day, totaling 10 hours of sleep. This is a reasonable amount of sleep for us to operate healthily for the first 2 months of our baby's life. On the weekend, my wife got to sleep as much as she needed while I filled in for baby care. I usually got in a nap as well. On the weekends, we relaxed our schedule and just gave each other breaks when we needed them. Keep in mind, your sleep rota will evolve like crazy as baby develops. Adapt well to the changes and you will be fine. Things start to get way better around the 2 to 3 month mark. Some people may tell you of the 100-day miracle, when the baby starts sleeping through the night. This means sleeping 6 to 8 hours at a stretch. At that point, you can start relaxing your sleep rota and start living like normal human beings. We were lucky as Victoria hit the mark early at 2 months. At that point, Victoria was sleeping almost exclusively at night, waking up a couple of times to feed for half an hour each time. My wife and I were able to change up our sleep rota into a much simpler routine. And this is the routine. I wake up around 5 a.m. and work on projects and hit the gym. At 8 a.m., the girls wake up and I say bye before I go to work. After work, I come home, eat dinner, and play with my daughter. Both my wife and I go to sleep around 10:30 a.m. Victoria wakes up once in the night around 4:30 a.m. for a feed and then goes back to sleep. This simpler sleep schedule netted me 6.5 hours of solid, uninterrupted sleep. My wife got 2 sessions of continuous sleep, each about 4 to 6 hours long, as well as naps throughout the day, totaling over 10 hours a day. Several men that I know were forced to wake up by their wives during nighttime feedings. These men say that their wives made them wake up because it made things quote-unquote fair. I have spoken with women who made their husbands endure the same sleep schedule as they do. They generally admit that it makes no sense why they wake up their husbands at night whenever baby wakes up. I suggest that it is pointless to have both parents awake and sleeping in synchrony. This is a misguided notion of fairness. It is far more efficient to split up tasks and schedule shifts so that both partners can get the rest they need. For most baby care activities, one person can handle it, so shifts make sense. It is optimal for the other partner to catch a few Z's while baby care is covered. A simple sleep rota can ensure that both partners get enough sleep to function. Sleep is absolutely critical and should be made a priority. A newborn's safety depends on parents being alert. Can you navigate the stairs and furniture while carrying your baby on only 3 hours of broken sleep per day? You need to be rested so that your wife can depend on you emotionally and physically. You need sleep to continue to excel at your work so that you can pay for food and all that baby stuff. Crashing your car on the way to work because you did not get enough sleep does not help the family costs. Getting fired for mental lapses due to sleep deprivation does not help the family costs. You can obviously adopt this advice to your specific situation if you, the dad, is staying at home and your wife is working. Basically, both of you need to get enough sleep so that accidents don't happen. Think of a way to make that happen. Getting enough sleep for you and your wife is the most important thing you can do to take care of yourselves. With enough sleep, you will have the energy and mental sharpness to tackle the challenges of caring for a baby. So that's the chapter on sleep rotas. There's more discussion on ensuring how your wife can get enough sleep, especially immediately postpartum, as well as discussion on baby sleep a little bit later on in the book. So if you're interested in continuing to read up, again, A Man's Guide to Newborn Babies is available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback format, as well as in ebook format on iTunes. So that's it for this episode. The next episode is super important. It's about diaper changing systems. Diapers are really actually quite easy, yet it's one of the things that I think men freak out about the most when they learn they're going to be a father, because they think, oh, diaper changes, it's gross, it's going to take a long time. You know, it's kind of the thing that a lot of guys dread, but guys, it's really easy to do actually. The main thing is you need a good system on how to do it. So we're definitely going to cover everything you need to know in the next episode on diaper changing systems. So that's it for this episode. If you want to connect with me, again, my blog is at adadsguide.org, and you could also find me at my Amazon author page. So the link's going to be in the show notes. So this is Anthony Kim signing off, reminding you to strive to be a great dad right from the start. Hope to see you next episode.